The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah!
Go Cowboys!
Let's go, baby!
Are you ready for a break?
Yes.
Are you ready for a break?
Absolutely.
Ready for a break?
Yeah, and so much for that.
It's time for The Break on DallasCowboys.com.
We were on the break!
With Ambar Garcia, Bryan Broaddus, Voch Lombardi, and Derek Eagleton.
It is Friday, September 5th, 2025, Season 21, Episode number 31. Welcome to the latest edition of The Break. We are live from the SWBC Mortgage Studios at the Star, and we are presented by LG. LG is the world's #1 OLED TV brand for 11 years and counting. See why at LG.com/OLED Evo. Welcome to the show. We got so much to talk about. Cowboys opened the season last night in Philadelphia. They lose 24-20. But I will tell you, and I'm going to go around the table here for those that are new to the show. On day after game, what we typically do, we start with the storyline of the game. And I want everybody to tell us, what?
You said we're going to go around the table for everybody that's new to the show. That's me. Okay,
No,
Voch.
no.
Voch, this is what we do.
I said it the wrong way. I should have said, we're going to go around the table, period.
Yes.
For everybody new to the show.
Comma. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
For me and the audience members that just got here.
I did put my I'm having a brain fart right now.
Punctuation.
My punctuation's all over the place.
Commas and his peers, okay?
There we go. So we're going to go around the table, but I will tell you this. Before I get to you guys, this game reminded me so much of what happened in 2022 when the Cowboys started the season in Tampa. If you remember that game, the score doesn't really reflect what the game looked like. It was a 19-3 loss against Tom Brady. But I came out of that game feeling like this team played better than I thought they would. And they went on after that and won 10 of the next 12 games. That was actually a really good season for them. Ended up 12-5. Beat Tampa Bay first round of the playoffs, as a matter of fact, that year. And so I came out of that game feeling a lot better than you typically would come out of a game with a loss, because I saw some things that made me think they got something. What are the storylines, I guess, coming out of this game for you guys? Let's go around the table. Voch, let's start with you.
Man, I have so many, but I'll try to save some for the rest of my castmates here. But I believe in Shotty. You know, he's a first-year head coach, and he did a lot right in this first go. There's many more games that he has to show up and kind of prove himself. But in terms of guys being ready to play, they were ready. If there's some adversities that you run into, like an hour-long rain delay, and he's like, "Hey guys, we're gonna be," and then the defense comes out and play better after that, and they stay motivated throughout the entire game. And then there's this, well, guys, we're going to try to do better getting motions and shifts involved. We've been hearing that for years now. Shida said, hey, we're going to get motions and shifts involved. I be damn, motions and shifts were involved. That's the best first 15 plays I've seen called in a long time. And the Cowboys ran the football. Javonte Williams, got a little bit of faith in him now. So plenty happened. I got so much more to say, but please, castmates, take it away.
I would say for me, it's just the fact that we came out of that game, and personally watching how they played, I'm like, this is not a soft team. They're here to compete. They're aggressive, and I love that. The way that they went in there and didn't allow them to, how do you say that, bully them.
Sure.
You know, they fought back. And it all started with that spit. And then it just got more interesting after all that. And I'm sure we'll get into that at some point. But I just love their aggressiveness. And that's something that I feel the Cowboys have lacked in previous years, where you don't see that fire inside them. And it's motivating. And I'm pleased, honestly. Despite the result, I think we all feel this way. There's a lot of positive that came out of that game despite the loss.
I don't believe in moral victories. I picked this football team to win 27-24. If they find a way to drive the ball at the end and get that touchdown, they win that game 27-24. I feel like you'll never, ever have a better opportunity to beat a defending Super Bowl championship team in their own backyard. Won't happen again. Everything lined up for you right last night. You just weren't good enough to go take it from them. You tried to take it from them, but you got to figure out ways to finish better. You got to finish out you got to figure out, hey, how the second half defense after the weather delay. Why'd you play that way and not play that way in the first half? offense. Why do you moving the ball up and down the field before the weather delay, and after the weather delay you have two of the most awful series you can imagine, on offense. This thing was good enough to win last night, and you didn't get it done. And that's the disappointing thing right now. He talks about championship opportunities. That was a championship opportunity for you to go out there and show the world that you, in fact, can play toe-to-toe with the Philadelphia Eagles, because nobody really believed that you could. You believed you could, but you're not good enough finishing. And you better learn how to finish these games. There's going to be a lot more tougher ones down the road.
No doubt. I think that's really the key to this thing is, regardless of whether you believe it's a moral victory or not, I agree with you. I don't believe in moral victories. I do think there are positive things you can take out of a ball game, though. And that's my point. I think last night there were some positive things. But as you said, Bryan, if they don't learn how to finish, what we will talk about, the story of this team for this season will be they were just not good enough, right? That they were just good enough to be in the games, not good enough to finish. That's the key. And I think last night we saw that a couple times. Let's talk about did you have something about you want to throw in?
Luckily for Dallas, I think they just have to learn how to play more soundly. I think they have the talent to beat teams like this. But look at Philly, right? We'll just talk about all the guys they lost, but they still just found a way to kind of will themselves at the end. And that's just coming from winning games. You just have to know how to win close games like that. And the Cowboys may not have that right now. The Cowboys are a very young team that haven't won very much. It's not in their DNA, Bryan Broaddus. But at some point,
spit.
Damn, man. Why does that word sound so nasty this morning?
It's nasty all the time.
That's
it's not
crazy.
just this morning.
That's crazy. But please go ahead, Derek.
Well, here's where I want to go with that, because I think there were a couple moments, and I pause a little bit in doing this because I think in a game like an NFL football game, there are so many moments. It's hard sometimes to boil it down to a play or two. But I really do believe last night this game hinged on a couple plays. Sure. And I want to know from you guys which you think was the most costly for Dallas. You got the Miles Sanders fumble. If they go and they score in that play, even if they get a field goal, it changes how they play in that last series when they have the ball, if they're only down by 1 point and they got a kicker that can kick it from the moon, right? Yeah. The other could be obviously CeeDee Lamb, and you can take your pick of which drop you think was most costly, or you could talk about other things that you might have thought were costly for the Cowboys. But what do you think was the most costly moment for the Cowboys that if it would have gone the other way, they had a much better chance they were going to win this game?
Sanders in the red zone, Ferguson dropping 6. Either one of those just hang on to it. It's hitting you right. And let me just take this moment to praise Dak. There are a lot of people that thought Dak would be rusty, that maybe he wouldn't play a great game. Dak finished with 188 yards, but we had like 120 yards worth of drops. So you could assume that Dak would be in the 300s somewhere.
And some PIs that got you,
and some
moved you,
and some George Pickens PIs. So that these are passes that are hitting players in the hands. Now, maybe this is a conversation you got to have about camp and how hard do you go at camp, and you can't hit your star players, but maybe you got to practice some of that getting hit and catching the football. You have to, you can't knock your players out of camp or whatnot. But this is maybe a conversation Shotty has to have moving forward or whatnot. But just in general, Miles Sanders breaking the 50-yard run, you can't fumble the ball right after that. You can't do it. And this made everybody feel like, hey, Jadon Blue probably wouldn't have done that. So
first of all, Jadon Blue,
he wouldn't have got caught.
Probably didn't get caught. Yeah.
Zach Bond does not catch Jadon Blue with a 5-yard head start. And I'm sure Jadon Blue doesn't fumble. But I think the head coach now goes, okay, Javonte Williams is hot.
Leave my boy
Did you watch
alone.
college?
Leave my boy alone. Why are we bringing up old stuff?
What I say?
What are we doing? That's old stuff.
I don't know what's going on. But
to be fair, he hasn't done it yet.
He hasn't.
So
That was college. College is college.
That was a lot.
Do you do the same things you did in college? I don't.
But the Cowboys, I think, were talented enough to do it.
Thank God.
But can I get my
facts?
If George Pickens wouldn't have done the goofy little, you know what I mean? So
we haven't slept, so it's all good.
It is what it is. Bryan,
be off the charts.
Take it away.
I kind of feel like this is where this is the unfortunate thing that happens to you in games like this, because you talk about Sanders fumbling the ball. Sanders has had a history of it, sure, but your best player missed a block that caused the fumble. Your best player did not secure the down lineman. Your best offensive lineman didn't secure his block, and and then substantially that's what happens with the play. His guy gets over, knocks the ball loose. Now, you talk about the stuff with what happened with CD. He's having a whale of a game, coming back to the football, getting the ball. Then he drops a slant. Then he drops an inside route. And then, they didn't call the last play, the 4th and 2 play, a drop. But unfortunately, though, you've got to make these plays. You've got to find a way. And when your best players are the ones that are causing you to have to deal with setbacks, that's a really, really hard thing to deal with when you're a football team, because you're relying on these guys. They're your best players for a reason. And when they're not delivering that way, you're going to find ways to lose games.
I mean, to me, the biggest play was that towards the end, that last one with CeeDee Lamb, where he misses the ball and doesn't catch it. And yes, there are a combination of plays that happen before all of that to get to that point where you're stuck with that score. But just like Bryan mentioned, you're talking about your star wide receiver who got paid a couple of years. When was it?
A couple of
years ago now. But still, your star wide receiver that you expect him to be able to make those plays. So, and again, he talked about it in the locker room. He owned up to it. He didn't came up with excuses or anything. I wouldn't expect nothing less than from him. But at the same time, you can't allow those things to happen. You got to be able to catch that ball and make that play. And that cost the game right there, because despite everything that happened prior to that, you still had a chance to win that football game.
It was just amazing to me how much that game was a tale of two halves in so many ways. For the offenses, both offenses, for both defenses, for CD. Like, you just go down the list, and this game was so different pre-rain delay and post-rain. It was almost like you watched two different games.
Yeah.
Because after that rain delay, everything that was happening before it flipped and was doing the exact opposite.
I think the rain delay helped Dallas's defense.
I agree.
I think it allowed them to sit there for an hour and kind of figure out what they needed to do, because the first half, the contain was poor. Guys, we've talked about breakdowns. How do you rush Jordan Mailata? In the second half, or after the weather delay, they started rushing where they were getting more opportunities to get around him, and they weren't letting it. They weren't just rushing down the middle. They figured some things out, and guys, instead of spinning inside, and leaving the whole side of the field, the door open there for Jalen Hurts to run, they were able to. They play better contain. The balls that he got to the sidelines on, he wasn't able to turn the corner. He had to throw a couple of them out of bounds. He got off the field. There was some wasted opportunities, and you're right, Derek. It was a strange game from pre-weather delay to post-weather delay. It just, both defenses kind of figured things out, and then the offenses were kind of left thinking, okay, what just happened to us? And that's the unfortunate thing.
Bryan, the last drive made me sick, of course. The CeeDee Lamb drops made us all sick, of course. But if you're going to be characterized as a defense that bend and you don't break, then you have to put points on the board when you have those chances here. Just looking at it, the Eagles put up 3 points in the whole second half.
Yeah.
The whole second half. So if you go into that second half up by 3 or up by 6, you play that game totally different now. You don't want to give the Eagles the luxury of, okay, we'll just hand the ball to Saquon, or we'll just, scramble around. You want to make Jalen Hurts have to throw into passing windows that the Cowboys DBs did a really good job of not giving him. The Cowboys DBs covered real well. I know we can fuss about the edges and the pass rush and all that. I think that's an adjustment that could be made.
Trevon surprised me.
Trevon did play well.
He surprised me based on everything that we talked about during training camp and leading up to this and the injury and all that. I thought he had a pretty good game.
All I wanted is for Flus to go, all right, y'all, just play contain, please. Or quarterback spot, linebackers don't turn your back to him and all this kind of stuff. If you just make those adjustments, Jalen Hurts wasn't throwing the ball downfield.
No.
If AJ Brown doesn't get a target to the fourth quarter,
Till the final
to the last drive,
the
last play, you're supposed to win that game.
Yeah.
So just one touchdown changes everything.
Did
So
you miss
Miles
a pass
Sanders,
rusher?
ma'am.
Did you miss a pass rusher?
We got a break to go. You gonna really have that conversation right now?
No, we went into this thing with 5 guys. Dante Fowler's the best guy. There's nobody else that matters. So we ain't missing nobody.
All right, we're going to take our first break. When we come back, we're going to dive into this offense and talk a little bit about Dak Prescott. I think he had a phenomenal day. It doesn't show in the numbers, but if you watch the game, you saw those things. We'll talk about that when we come back. This is DallasCowboys.com radio.
AT&T has a new guarantee, because most things in life are not guaranteed. like getting through self-checkout by yourself.
Warning, each item must be placed in the bagging area.
Not guaranteed.
Place item in the bagging area. Place item in the bagging area.
You know what AT&T guarantees? Connectivity you depend on, deals you want, and service you deserve. Or we make it right. Terms and conditions apply. Visit att.com/guarantee for details. AT&T. Connecting changes everything.
Hey y'all, Matt Pittman here. As the official pitmaster of the Dallas Cowboys, you know I take cookware seriously, especially when it comes to America's team. So when the Cowboys are away, I'm putting my Yeti cast iron skillets to work to make my game day favorites for friends and family. I'm talking chicken fried steak, skillet queso, and peach cobbler. And just like the Cowboys are forever, so are these heirloom cast iron skillets. Check out the full line of skillets on Yeti.com or at a Yeti store near you.
Every day begins with a promise to work hard and to build a future. That's why we're here, providing the tools, expertise, and John Deere equipment you have relied on for generations to help you get the job done right. We're with you. That's our promise to you, because no matter the project or the challenge you're facing,
we're with you. We're united.
If you shout, "How about them Cowboys?" you have that undeniable passion that's the heart of Cowboys Nation. And if you like to drink Dr. Pepper, you love the unique blend of its 23 flavors. Together, your one-of-a-kind fandom paired with the one-of-a-kind taste of a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper is the game day lineup that can't be beat. Better yet, gather your Cowboys and Dr. Pepper fan friends to watch the next game and crack open a delicious ice-cold Dr. Pepper for everyone. The wins will be even tastier. It's a pepper thing.
Don't put off getting your oil changed, Dallas. Take 5 Oil Change, a proud partner of the Cowboys, is faster than you think. They're so fast, you don't even have to get out of your car. You can take advantage of Take 5's stay-in-your-car 10-minute oil change at any of their locations across the Dallas area. And remember, at Take 5, you stay in your car because they're faster than you think. That means you won't even have time to show off your best touchdown celebration. Take 5, the official oil change of the Dallas Cowboys.
Back to the break.
Choose perfection. Choose LG OLED Evo. Check out the best TV in the game at LG.com.
Welcome back. It is the second segment of the break. We're live from SWBC Mortgage Studios at the start of the segment, brought to you by blockchain.com. All right, let's talk about Dak Prescott. He was 21 of 34, 62% completion rate, 188 yards, 0 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, a 76.6 rating. And guess what? None of that tells you just how good he was in that game yesterday. When I tell you he was dotting them up and he was putting balls on the money that guys didn't quite catch as often as they should have, his number should have been a lot higher. But even at that, you saw some of the running, you saw some of the elusiveness. I mean, this was the best of Dak Prescott that we saw yesterday. And quite frankly, I'll tell you this. I actually like, well, nobody's really talking about it, but how he handled himself in the spitting incident, I think, and I'd heard some of this, like some people that had been around Dak last week, they were like, Dak has a different level of confidence this year going into this year.
Sure.
He is feeling this in a way that it's more palpable than it's been in past years. And that moment with the whole spitting, the way he looked across at Jalen Carter and then stepped between his linemen to get to him like, yeah, bro, I wasn't spitting at you, man. I'm not running from you. You know, it was just, there was a level of confidence that I think was coming from him. And then he played like that. What did you guys think of Dak Prescott last night?
I wonder, did that come from his confidence in Shoddy calling plays and it being different than what it would be last year? If you're Dak and last year you're like one of the top quarterbacks in the window throws, Bryan, you always
tight
mention
window throws,
that. He's and that's not a great thing. You don't want to be a top tier quarterback in that realm there. You want to have wide open throws. You want to have the easy throws, right? I just wonder if Dak and Shoddy have had such a long conversation and their plans working with each other is like, hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to hide everything, and we're going to go out and we're going to show it. And Dak just had a great faith in it. Dak looked comfortable yesterday. Like, it didn't look too big for him. Normally, Dak had that look in his eyes. He'll be sweating. But Dak was dancing. Dak was having fun. Dak was cool because he knew, one, what he could do versus the Eagles. He's normally great versus those guys. But just, I think that this offense, we're running motion. Running motion gives us so many answers. I know what if I know what you're doing and I'm the quarterback, that's half the battle. So when you see okay, well, you get a Ferguson drop, a Schoonmaker drop. Brevis Ford almost lost his helmet there, but he could have caught it if he'd hung on to it, right? CeeDee Lamb, right on the, like, Dak was in his zone, right? And maybe the rain delay kind of took him out of it a little bit, and you kind of lost a little bit of your momentum there. But I feel confident moving forward through the rest of the season that Dak and Shotty, as long as they're on the same page, I think you're going to get good Dak all year.
He was so impressive to me, remembering how long it's been. What week was it last year that he went out? I don't remember the game.
Seven. It was somewhere around there.
It's been a long time since he's been out on the field playing a real football game. Yeah. We didn't see him in the preseason. So the expectation, regardless of him being a 10-year veteran, the expectation is still that you're going to be rusty. You're going to go out there and make some mistakes. And he looked so good. Yeah. The way, and he's always been confident, but even in the way that he was able to escape that's what should have been a sack, and we laughed about it in the press box. He's like, oh, he still looked a little slow. But still, he looked good.
I think he said after the game, he was like, I felt a little slow. I think I heard a quote. He said that after
it comes with the age, you know, but it's still, it was a really good play, and the fact that he was able to make that play. So, again, very clean game for him. Didn't go out there and start throwing the ball, giving it away. He was very poised, confident, and looked really good in his mobility and looks 100% healthy. You always wonder, okay, how healthy are you really? You say that you feel great, but how good are you really? And it was great. It's very... You say no moral victories here, Bryan, but to me, I'm not saying it's a moral victory, but it's still...
Yeah, Bryan, it's a moral victory.
I still
ain't doing that. Brian's like, don't do it.
A lot of good things happened, and that was one.
You picked him to win. Everybody here picked him to win.
Well, no, Amber did not. She kind of wrote the fence. She wrote the fence.
I did write the fence, but
she was kind of like, they could win or lose. That's how she went at it, but, you know.
The only thing I want from...
A lot of positive things came out of it.
The one thing I want Dak to kind of think about, work on, fix, and he knows himself way better than me, is even when Pickens is not open, he's still kind of open. I think Dak wants guys to be clearly open, and then he gets the ball to him. Yeah. I think Pickens isn't going to be a guy that's going to lose a bunch of defenders with his route running or even running past guys, right? Make Pickens make those catches because that's what he's really good at, tracking the football, catching the ball. The passes that he did catch, it was a defender on him. He just caught him anyway. So I just want Dak to have faith in him that that's how he wins. Lamb wins differently. Pickens wins differently. Ferg wins differently. That's it.
They could have got so much more out of this game plan yesterday. They really could have.
Bryan tearing them down.
Bryan can't.
They really could have.
What's something good that happened, Bryan? Say something good that happened. What's one thing good?
6 plays, 53 yards. 9 plays, 64 yards. 10 plays, 31 yards. 7 plays, 29 yards. Okay, all scoring drives.
Yeah, for sure.
Then you have the fumble. You go 9 plays, 64. They did not have an answer for you.
Yeah.
They did not have an answer for you yesterday. And we're singing the praises of Dak Prescott, and rightfully so. But you could have gotten more out of this thing. What happened the other drives? You know, what were you not doing? What were you not going? Did you not highlight your plays? Did you not circle? Did you and Dak not come to an agreement? I mean, you had some drops along the way. I get it. There were some big plays left out there. But, man, to me, there could have been more motions. There could have been more attacking with Turpin. There could have been more getting Pickens involved. There could have been, Ferguson wasn't having a great game. None of the tight ends were really having it. So figure out something else. Go hand the ball to Turpin. Throw the ball a little bit more to Pickens. I think to me that this offense, the first 15 and really into the first quarter and maybe the first half was what – you're thinking like, man, this thing has got a chance to be really, really damn good.
Sure.
And then all of a sudden the second half, when you needed that, when you needed to be able to do it, you couldn't dial it up like you did the first half. Something was left on the field, and it wasn't all drops. The play caller's got to be better. The quarterback's got to be better. The receiver's got to be – everybody's got to be better. But this offense has more capabilities than they showed last night.
Bryan, you're not wrong. But I'll never take away from CD's 13 targets just to give Turpin some. Like if the
no. I'm just saying though. Sure. But if you're in a situation, you like you say, make them have to defend everybody.
Sure.
Make them have to defend Pickens.
But if they can't defend Lamb, you just keep going to Lamb.
Well,
right?
yeah, that's what I'm saying though. But they kept going to Lamb, and then he had the drops. Unfortunately, he had the drops. I think you have to find a way to get Pickens involved as well. Yep. I don't think Pickens could go into a game and have 4 targets and have 3 receptions.
So now let me ask you, Brian, what do you take away from to get those other guys going? Do you run the ball just to get Pickens going?
The really good teams, the really good offensive teams, the Rams find ways to get Puka Nacua involved. They find ways to get all their guys in the game, and they make you could have wore the Eagles out last night on defense.
Philly had the ball for a long time too, Brian. That's another thing too.
Yeah, well,
that's another thing too.
Well, Dallas's defense played better after the rain delay.
Yes, sir.
I mean, they the first half. I mean, Dallas was. I'm just saying though, you needed 2 more drives. You needed 2 more drives, and you've got to be able to dial that back up.
Yeah,
you can't do it for just 3/4 of the game. That game was for the taking last night. It really was.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you, Brian. I guess the way I look at it is, if this were week 8, if this were week 10,
sure,
I would be a lot more like, what is that? Like, it's week 1 of a new coach, new scheme, and then so that's how I can say, okay, there were certainly opportunities that they missed, and they certainly had an opportunity to win that game and didn't take advantage of it, and you call those things out. But when I look at it in the total package, sure, I walk away from it thinking there were more positive things than negative things. And I feel like the negative things, if you can fix them, and I think you did a good job, Brian, there of laying out what those things are. I think those things are fixable. Yeah. And so now we get to see, how does this coach adapt? Does he see the things that we're talking about and say, I could do a little bit more with Turpin. I could do a little bit more here. I can maybe do a little bit less here. Yeah. Does he see those things and now adjust to it and now get his team on a roll? Or does he continue to make the same mistakes?
This offense could be really good.
Right.
If you're getting physicality with your offensive line blocking the way they did, yeah. And there were times in that game last night where in the past, those plays that went into the line of scrimmage, it was at the line of scrimmage, it was a 0 or a negative play, and it turns into a 3 or 4 yard run. Mm-hmm. There's things that you could absolutely. This offensive line did a great job, I feel like, at times moving people on the line of scrimmage. And I don't care who was in or out for the Philadelphia Eagles. Sure. I don't care.
That happens. That's
if I'm watching the tape and you're moving guys at the line of scrimmage, I'm encouraged by that. But I'm saying, to me, I just felt like that. What was so frustrating last night was that game was for the taking. And if you want to be a great team, you got to go in someone's backyard and take it from them. And they did. For 3/4 of that game, they might have been the better team.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. They might have been the better team. But unfortunately though, that's the defending Super Bowl champs. And they found a way to get it done at the end, and you didn't. And that to me is the most disappointing thing, is that you had a good game plan, you executed for the most part, but when it came time to really finish this thing off, you couldn't do it. That's the disappointing thing, and I don't want that to be something that in week 8 all of a sudden we look up and we go, oh well, remember in week 1 when they didn't finish? It's still the same problems that they got. Hopefully that'll change.
Pickens and Jadon Blue, Brian. Basically, like if I had to get somebody else more involved, it would be give more to Pickens and find out whatever y'all gonna do about running back 2 and make Blue that.
That's exactly what is motivating, in the sense that we all feel that we didn't see enough of certain players.
Sure.
So it's not like they showed you everything that they've got or that they can do, and you're still being like, oh man, they couldn't come. No, you still have players that you saw them play, and if you just have to involve them a lot more in the game. And I get like preseason, very different than the regular season, but going back to that and talking about a first-time head coach, you look at how the preseason went, like starters versus, players are trying to make the team, but still, it left a lot on the table. Those first 2 preseason of the game, I'm starting what I was doing yesterday. I couldn't speak yesterday, but those first 2 games of the preseason, sure, a lot of things went wrong, was bad. So it could have gone down the same way for this first game of the regular season, where you're left with, man, what are we doing here? How are you fixing that? I thought it was a strong start. We all agree with you, Brian. They should have won that game based on how they were performing. I don't know what happened when they came back from the rain delay.
The defense was ready to play. The offense wasn't. And that's my issue right now is, and he even talked about that in the post game. He talked about being able to complement each other in the way that they play and get them both playing at the same time. You know, that team offensively can be really, really good. It can be really, really good. And again, and a lot of it I think starts because of those three inside guys.
Yep.
You know, Steele, when you watch Steele on tape, you're going to close your eyes. You're going to close your eyes a little bit. Voch, I know you watch the offensive line. I think there's some things with Guyton, but Steele, it's a little crazy. But those three inside guys you got, that's legit.
They were moving bodies.
They were moving bodies. And if you tell me that I have the ability to move bodies, I will find a way to get everybody else involved. I feel like they left a really good opportunity to get, and I'm all for CD. I think he's one of your best players. But I'd also get George Pickens involved. I'd get Turpin involved. They didn't.
And that's it. Stop right there. Yep.
Yeah, they just didn't.
I will also say you mentioned that offensive line, that interior part of the offensive line. I think Javonte Williams is a very, very nice complement to what they want to do there. He is a power, physical runner.
Yeah.
And what you saw last night in those 15 attempts, 54 yards, 2 touchdowns was that they don't have a problem in short yardage.
No.
They don't have a problem in goal line. Like we've seen that be a problem over the last several years at times. That was not a problem last night. They can move the ball because they have guys in the interior that move bodies, and they have a running back that when he hits that line, he's going forward.
Yeah.
And he's going to get you those extra yards. That one time when he dragged the entire pile for an additional 5 yards, like that's what I was like, that you got yourself a power running back and that's a good thing.
Yeah, we haven't seen that since like 2016 with Zeke.
Absolutely.
Rookie Zeke.
Yeah. We're going to take our final break. We're going to come back. Let's talk a little bit about this defense. And I want to ask the question, I know there's been a lot of talk that the Cowboys run defense was poor last night. My question will be, was it really a matter of the run defense, or was this an issue of scheme and not having the right things in place in order to stop a running quarterback? We'll talk about that when we come back. This is DallasCowboys.com radio.
That's a good one right there.
If you can't be at the stadium, there's no better way to watch your Cowboys than on an LG OLED Evo TV. That's because everything you see is more lifelike. Every play, every hit. I mean, you might as well be on the sidelines. That's how clear it is. It's all thanks to LG's legendary technology. Perfect black, over 8.3 million self-lit pixels. No one comes close. LG OLED Evo is the best TV in the game for a reason. See for yourself at lg.com/OLED Evo.
It's the official men's skincare brand of the Dallas Cowboys, Jack Black. And right now, Cowboys fans can get 15% off their $75 order. Plus, because every deal needs a playmaker, your order will include a free 5-piece skincare set and free shipping. The Jack Black Playmaker is 4 of Jack's favorites and a full-sized intense therapy lip balm. Make a play for the playmaker at getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP. That's getjackblack.com/Cowboys with the code CowboysVIP.
As America's leading business lender, Bank of America is on your corner and in your corner. With over $9 billion in business loans and more than 140 business specialists right here in North Texas, we help businesses thrive so communities prosper. What would you like the power to do? Learn more at bankofamerica.com/local business. Bank of America, official bank of FIFA Club World Cup 2025. Copyright 2025 Bank of America Corporation, all rights reserved.
From the field to the festivities, Lucchese embodies the essence of luxury and tradition. Handcrafted with meticulous precision, each pair offers unmatched comfort and style. Stand tall while you're tailgating or cheering in the stands with the Dallas Cowboys collection by Lucchese. Shop the collection today at the Lucchese store at the Star in Frisco or online at lucchese.com. Lucchese, the official boot of the Dallas Cowboys and Dallas Cowboys cheerleaders.
AT&T has a new guarantee because most things in life are not guaranteed, like getting through self-checkout by yourself.
Warning, each item must be placed in the bagging area.
Not guaranteed.
Place item in the bagging area. Place item in the bagging area.
You know what AT&T guarantees? Connectivity you depend on, deals you want, and service you deserve. Or we make it right. Terms and conditions apply. Visit att.com/guarantee for details. AT&T. Connecting changes everything.
Back to the break.
AT&T, connecting changes everything.
Welcome back. It is the final segment of the break, live from SWBC Mortgage Studios at the start. We got about 10 minutes here. Let's talk about the defensive side of the ball. I've seen and heard so many tweets and radio shows this morning where people are just flippantly saying the Cowboys' run defense is poor. And as I looked at the numbers last night, I really didn't think. Now, I will grant. Let me say as a preface to that, as you're watching the game, it felt like Saquon was actually playing better than the final stats say. At the end of the night, he had 18 attempts, 60 yards, a 3.3 average, and 1 touchdown. When you hold Saquon Barkley and
that
this
one touchdown was good, by the way.
It really was. Yeah. When you hold him to 18 carries for 60 yards and a 3.3 average, that is a phenomenal day against the run. It is my contention this was not a poor run defense that we saw last night from the Cowboys. What we saw was an inability to be able to handle a running quarterback of the ilk of Jalen Hurts. What do you guys think?
I would love to get the numbers broken down. Saquon did go crazy in the first half. But after the rain delay, that's when the Cowboys really buckled down. So towards the end, when you look at the final number at it, you're like, all right, they did kind of shut Saquon down. But to your point, this was really just Jalen Hurts running around. Like the large rushing number that got to you was Jalen Hurts running around. And I don't want to come on here and say crazy things about Jalen Hurts. Man, he went out there, won a game, won the Super Bowl. I sound like a hater if I say crazy things about Jalen Hurts. But if you just blitz Jalen Hurts, if you just blitz him, his eyes will come down and he'll look around like he don't know what the hell going on. Corners did great, I get it. But if there was a spy and just some illusion of pressure to make Jalen Hurts drop his eyes and run around, I think you could have done so much. But I'm just a dude that work on DallasCowboys.com with a microphone. I don't know nothing. But I just want to stop for a second and give Kenny Clark a whole bunch of praise. If you take the trade away, don't put him Clark versus Micah in draft picks. Just look at Kenny Clark playing one tech for you. What does he do? He's
fun to watch.
He is so fun to watch because he's so strong. Yeah. He is square. And I've had nightmares of past one techs. Bryan says names. I don't want to say nobody's names on this platform. Of past one techs flying backwards.
Feel free to throw out names if you want to, bro.
Mozzie Smith used to fly backwards and end up at the damn first down line somehow.
I'm so proud of you right now.
Huh?
I'm so proud of you right
now. Man, because I be getting sick of it,
Hey, but you just got to tell the truth. If you watch the film and that's what you see, tell the truth.
Mozzie knows it. Last year, when it was like Carlos Watkins and those guys, it was so much movement being generated. Saquon Barkley would go untouched. Bryan, we talked about that. We would break it down. Saquon Barkley going untouched and then him getting an additional 30 or something yards. Kenny Clark is so square and so strong. Mm-hmm. Double teams didn't work at all. Then Landon Dickerson one-on-one, giving him the work, ladies and gentlemen. I know Kenny Clark ended up on, like, numbers-wise with like 5 tackles or something like that, but it was much bigger than that. And what ultimately happened is Solomon Thomas, who's 305 pounds, something like that, he was going to be your first one tech. Yep. Solomon went back to B-gap, where he belongs. And now, played well. Yeah. So now you get a better Solomon Thomas. Jay Toia did his thing. Your A-gap is fine when Clark is out there, and Osa got better. Mm-hmm. One move made 3 other people better.
Now, the argument is Micah might have made those same players better, maybe in a different way.
I don't know him. Micah's been on this team before a while, people getting pushed around. I don't know. But people ain't get pushed around when Kenny Clark is in A-gap. I'm a fan of Clark. Go ahead, Bryan, please.
If you're one of those guys,
because I talk all day about Kenny Clark. Go ahead.
If you're one of those guys or gals that believes in metrics, you just look at the metrics. When he was on the field, their defense was only giving up 2.8 yards a carry. That's all you need to know. Everybody else was in the 4.2s.
Can we just keep him on the field the whole time?
5s. Look at some of your edge rushers there. Yeah. Your edge rushers with Donovan Ezaraku, they were 5 yards a carry when he was on the field. Fowler was over 6 yards a carry when he was on the field. There's where you go. For so many years we've blamed defensive tackle play for what's going on in the run defense here. It's really about the front 7. It
can't
really
set the
is.
edge.
If you cannot hold blocks and cannot set the edge, and you decide that you're going to gamble or take a gap that you shouldn't take or not play your scheme, you're going to give up plays in the running game. And you're going to give up the quarterback runs. You're going to try and spin. You're rushing and you spin inside instead of, say, outside contain. And now the quarterback's got an avenue to get out and run. That's you. That's on you. That's scheme. That's technique. Those are all the things. I mean, the coaches are trying to put you in position to make plays. Like I say, look at Kenny Clark. They're putting him in position to make some plays. He's making plays. That's where this is really all at. Don't focus on defensive tackles all the time. Look at your safeties, look at your corners, look at your linebackers. and look at your edges, because that's where run defense is really. And Dallas was much better on it after the weather delay.
Yep.
Much better fits, much better squareness of playing up front and not getting turned or gambling and going into a gap they're not supposed to be in.
Yeah, Osa said that after the game. He was pretty clear when they asked him, like, what was the difference? He was like, we just started playing sound defense. Our gap integrity was better coming out of that. And who knows why? I don't know if they talked about it a lot more or just guys just settled into being like, don't play hero ball, do your job. Because in this defense, everybody's got a gap, basically. Like, there isn't a lot of decision-making that has to go into it. You just man your gap. And I think once they start figuring that out, as they did there after that rain delay, I think this defense actually can play some good football.
Voch, did you tell me that we need to see more James Houston?
We need to see more James Houston and Marshawn Nealon. How I asked
Nealon had a good game last night.
Was, Dante Fowler is I guess he's the senior of the group, and he got paid and all this, and Donovan Ezra-Who's the second-round pick. So I guess that would maybe, I don't say force you, but it'll maybe encourage you to put those guys out there first. But if you're against a team that's going to run the ball heavy and you maybe need to be physical earlier, I would advocate for Marshawn Nealon being out there early, because Marshawn showed me that he had a lot more balance, not just as a run defender, but Marshawn walked away with the sack, Brian Broaddus, and pressures versus Lane Johnson. Just that alone, shouts out to Marshawn Nealon there. So I would wonder if the run numbers are a certain way with Fowler out there earlier and Donovan out there earlier. I would just wonder if the Cowboys coaches would make a turn to maybe Nealon going there early, and then in passing downs, then that's when you can run Fowler and Donovan out there.
What do you guys think about Sam last night? Because he did show up. I think there were plays where you saw him running across the field, and he was really kind of getting. I know a couple plays there in the second half. He kind of ran down Jalen Hurts, didn't allow him to get the extra yards he was getting in the first half. What do you guys think of him overall as a defender last night?
Sam is active. He's physical, but he still runs down the middle of people. So Sam has to get that tool belt going, and he'll get that with reps and all this. But just one more thing about the ends, and this definitely with Sam. That's a great set of tackles you played against yesterday. Like Mailata, Lane Johnson, that's about as good as it's going to get. So when you play more games, you're going to run into worse guys, and that'll definitely help a little bit. But Sam played fine for the most part.
Credited with 19 snaps on defense against the run, had 5 tackles in the run defense, and had 2 run stuffs, which would mean a negative play or at the line of scrimmage. So metrics tell you that he was pretty effective. I found him playing both right and left end, and they also kicked him inside and played him some nickel tackle when they went on some pass rush stuff, and that affected how the Eagles, like in that after the rain delay. We keep saying after the rain delay.
Yeah.
But that's where I think this defense kind of started picking some things up. They got a little bit better, or they understood, okay, we can't play hero ball like everybody's talking about here. And Sam Williams, I felt playing right in, left in, and playing some nickel tackle was pretty effective doing that.
One thing
that allows you to now get a better idea of what you're working with moving on forward, because you can't be waiting until the third quarter of the game to make those types of adjustments. You got to start off right off the bat. And we've seen it with other teams that not necessarily have the best quarterback in the league, but they're mobile. And some unmobile quarterbacks are able to put on some yards on the ground against the Cowboys defense. Again, different coaching staff, different group. So, but still, you need to make I wanted to point out something real quick on Mazi, something that I liked hearing from Brian Schottenheimer, because he was asked after the game, hey, why was he inactive? What happened there? And he straight up said he needs to be more consistent in the way that he plays, and we're here to compete every day. That's our motto.
Yeah,
you got to compete every day. So that stood out to me that, hey, he's not coming in here and just giving people play time just because of where they were drafted or whatever. He's here to, hey, set up the standard, make the standard, and you got to show up and compete and earn your spot and your playing time to be on the field.
One quick thing before we end the show. I think we have to give some kudos to this secondary. We mentioned it a little bit earlier in the game. But the fact that they held A.J. Brown to 1 target, 1 catch for 8 yards, held Devontae Smith to 3 targets, 3 catches for 16 yards. There wasn't a single receiver other than Jahan Dotson who had a catch over 9 yards yesterday. Dotson had the big 51-yarder, but really that was the only real big play they had in the passing game. And when you look at the fact that that was that group of cornerbacks that had not played together in the entire training camp because Trayvon Diggs has been out injured. That certainly gives me reason to believe the secondary can get even better with more time. What were your thoughts on that group?
Yeah, I mean, if you deal with Brown and you deal with, all these other guys, Smith, and, Saquon didn't really go. If they want to win with Dotson, cool, please, by all means, knock yourself out. But besides Elam giving up the one big play, the corners did well. Now, what I would like, Coach Flus, if you're gonna blitz a DB, don't blitz Trey because Trey don't want to tackle. Blitz like Donovan.
Leave Trey alone. Trey had a good game.
Trey did fine until he had a free run to Jalen Hurts and didn't. Hey. Donovan Wilson would have got him right there. Zion Childress would have got him right there, but I don't know. But yeah, your corners play fine. Your DBs did good.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be tweeting at you later.
It's all good. Trey did great. He just didn't tackle Mike. He didn't tackle Jalen Hurts. A free run to him.
Well, in all fairness, same thing happened on the other side. Bland got back there too, and
Bland can get it too. Tackle Hurts.
So it happens. Hurts a hard guy to bring down.
I'm kind of in that mode right now where I'm happy that Diggs is back. Good for him. Listen, hey, congratulations, all the things you're doing. This thing needs to be Bland and Diggs starting, and then if they go to nickel, then figure out a way to get Elam on the field. But Elam was the one that they went after yesterday. They found a way to kind of go after him. I think there were 5 targets, 5 catches. The big 51-yard play was. So to me, now it's just take Elam, and if you're going to play nickel, let's see if they attack him in the nickel. Maybe one of your guys will come back. Maybe you can find a development. Nothing against Elam. He did a nice job in training camp and all that. But this team needs Diggs. They need Bland. They need to figure out, though, the nickel stuff, too, to make sure that they get their best 3 on the field all the time.
The interesting part is they won't face better wide receiver groups than that yesterday too often this season. So to do what they did yesterday, I think, is a really great sign for what you can expect for them as the season wears on. All right, that's a wrap. We appreciate you guys joining us. We'll be back on Monday. We'll have a little bit more breakdown on some bigger picture things that happened in yesterday's game, and then we'll start moving on. It's on to the next week. Cowboys will take on the Giants next Sunday. But you guys enjoy a weekend of NFL football. Your team's done for the weekend, so you can just sit back and enjoy some NFL football, and we'll see how that goes. We'll be back on Monday. Until then, for Voch, Lombardi, Bryan, Broaddus, and Ambar Garcia, I'm Derek Eagleton. This has been The Break live on DallasCowboys.com radio.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!